Hello, and welcome to another episode of Vibrant Legacy Wellness and Coaching. Today, I want to talk about relationships and how we set the standard for the relationship early. And what I mean by set the standard is at the very beginning of the relationship, as soon as we meet someone, we begin to set the standard of how they will treat us, how we will allow them to treat us, and what we will allow. And it's kind of hard to think of it that way because we start thinking, as we go along, well, this person's not treating me the way I want to be treated. But that is the standard that you set at the beginning of the relationship. When you first meet someone, everything that you do from that moment on will be the standard. Whether it's a friendship, a coworker relationship, or a romantic relationship, how you allow that person to treat you throughout the relationship, during the relationship, especially at the beginning, establishes the foundation of what you will and will not allow. And that also tells other people how to treat you. So, what I mean by that is when you allow someone to treat you poorly, talk to you poorly, make bad jokes that hurt your feelings, and you don't say anything, you don't put up those boundaries, you don't tell them this is not acceptable behavior, they then believe that this behavior is okay and they will continue down that path. And eventually it progresses into something bigger because they know that they can treat you however they want to and there are no consequences. When you're meeting someone for the first time, you should pay attention to how they treat you, how they interact with you, what they say, the jokes that they make, because a lot of time jokes have underlining truth to them, right? When you have a friend, for example, that you know is just a little bit not really on your team, they don't always cheer you on when you do things. You also catch that later on during little jokes that they make, and it always seems like fun and games, right? They might make a joke about your outfit, they might make a joke about your failures. They may not praise you when you have wins. They're little keys to just what they really feel about you. But if you go back to the beginning of the relationship, you can look at it and kind of assess the situation, and you begin to realize this is the standard that you set. You allowed them to treat you poorly in the beginning, so now they believe that they can treat you poorly moving forward. The other part about that, on the opposite end of that, is you're also showing other people that are not in that situation, that are not these people, how to treat you. Because when you allow one person to treat you poorly and you continue to allow that behavior to go on, then other people say, okay, well, this is the standard. This is how I should treat this person. And so you kind of create this, I won't say cycle, but it's kind of a cycle. Like you create this standard across the board for everyone to treat you. And whether that is treating you well or treating you poorly, that's the standard that you are constantly setting. When you decide that you're no longer going to take that behavior, when you decide that it's time to stand up for yourself, when you decide that it's time to implement boundaries, that's when things start getting shaky because now you've already set the standard with this person that this behavior is okay. Once you set that standard and then you implement those boundaries, it becomes confusing for everyone, including yourself, because now this person doesn't understand why you're setting the boundaries, doesn't understand why suddenly they can't treat you the way they've always treated you. And even if they're not treating you well, they feel slighted. They feel like they're the ones being attacked. And it's not that they're being attacked. What you're doing is completely healthy for yourself. And it is a good way to show them how they should not only treat you, but how they should treat others. The problem is the standard has already been set. So you have to go into the game at the very beginning, knowing that you will not take this type of behavior, but not also informing others that you will not take this type of behavior so that everybody can be on the same page. And you will see as you start implementing these boundaries earlier in relationships that you yourself will start to treat yourself better. And you'll be quicker to implement boundaries later because you know what you like to be treated, how you like to be treated, and you know how you don't like to be treated. So just wanted to jump on really quick and kind of talk about that because I noticed that, especially again in romantic relationships, we kind of excuse poor behavior, right? In work relationships, I think it's a little bit easier to implement those boundaries because we don't see those people all the time outside of work. It's very, we're at work, this is the standard, and it's very easy for us to implement those standards, those boundaries. But in personal relationships outside of work and romantic relationships, it's a little bit more difficult. And I think that we give a lot more leeway to romantic relationships because we're in that honeymoon phase. It's all new and fresh. We kind of excuse poor behavior sometimes for, oh, we're still getting to know each other. And then we allow the poor behavior to kind of start, right? And then we allow it to progress. And then once it progresses to more, we allow it to continue. But we soon see that as we allow it to continue, it's kind of snowballs. It just one day you wake up or you look at the situation, you're like, how did I get here? How do we get to this point where this person is so horrible to me and I'm so miserable and I'm so unhappy, but this person doesn't see anything wrong? And it's just all about what we did at the beginning. So especially in romantic relationships, it's important to say at the beginning what you will and will not accept, what you will and will not take. And when you are treated in a way that you don't like, it's really important to communicate that clearly and come from a place of love and understanding, right? Start there because that person may not even realize that they're not treating you well, especially if they're used to being in relationships where this type of behavior is acceptable. Sometimes, and again, this is not excusing behavior because we don't do that here. We don't excuse behavior. We definitely are all about accountability and responsibility here. But you also want to be aware that sometimes people just are unaware. They're unaware that their behavior is unacceptable because no one's ever told them that it was unacceptable. So you need to be that person because you're not only teaching them how to treat you, you're teaching them how to treat others in their life, whether that is a relationship, another relationship, if yours doesn't work out, or just other relationships in their lives, like family members, loved ones, coworkers, friends, just other relationships in other situations. But even more importantly than that, you're teaching them how to treat themselves. And that's really the key to teaching people how to treat you is that you're teaching them how to treat themselves well when you're teaching them how to treat you well. And you are becoming a role model for this is how to treat people the right way. And when I say the right way, I mean the loving way, the way that doesn't cause harm to you or anyone else or to themselves, right? And that's the standard that we want to go by. We want to make sure that everyone is aware with open communication from a place of love and explain to them, hey, this is not okay because, and then whatever the situation is. It's just really important to establish that early on. It's really important to understand why it's important because as you continue to build those boundaries and set that standard, you raise your own vibration. You begin to see yourself in a better light. You begin to love yourself more because you are receiving love more. And you begin to receive and attract the type of people that you want in your life. Because when you set those boundaries, when you set those standards, the people who don't want to listen to those, put whatever you put in place, the people who don't respect your boundaries, don't respect what you're saying, they're going to leave your life. And you may feel sad about them leaving, but in the long run, you're going to be better off because what's going to come in their place is someone who respects you, someone who treats you well, someone who, when they do something that hurts you and you tell them, they are truly sorry for what they did and they truly want to make it right and they don't want to go down that road again. So just want to get on really quick and talk about that because it's kind of been coming up a lot lately, just seeing, a lot of my clients and a lot of people in my life not realizing that the way they're being treated is just kind of the standard that they set a long time ago. And then seeing people try to backtrack and fix that and seeing how difficult it is. I just want to touch base on that and talk about that a little more. So thank you for joining me in another episode. And remember, true wellness isn't just about the body. It's about nurturing your mind, heart, and spirit. So keep your energy high, your spirit bright, and your soul nourished. Until next time, stay vibrant and stay well.